Expired and replaced with a former immigration system, Title 42 came to an end last night. Now thousands of migrants are hoping to cross into the U.S. KCRA 3 has been at the border in San Ysidro since the end of that pandemic-era immigration policy came to an end.
Marcela de la Cruz is there right now. Marcela, tell us more about what you're seeing there this morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Yeah, Brandy, Mike. Well, we are along the border where hundreds of people have been gathering along this stretch. This is between two barriers dividing the U.S. and Mexico, and people have been coming out here for months. Now, as we know, Title 42 expired last night at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and at that moment, we did see Border Patrol agents coming out here, lining up people and distributing water, granola bars to all of these. Now, tens of thousands of people are estimated to be massed in northern Mexico. But according to the Homeland Security Secretary, the expiration of Title 42 is not going to make things easier for people to cross into the U.S. unlawfully. Now, since its expiration, a number of measures have already started going to effect. Some of these include the establishment of 100 regional centers throughout different countries, encouraging people to apply for asylum from their countries instead of making their way into the U.S. Now, we also spoke to an immigration attorney who tells us more about what some of these measures could mean for many of these migrants who are already out here. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
The other issue that's going to be implemented is applying for asylum in whatever country you pass through before getting to the United States. If this does actually go back into effect, a lot of people seeking asylum are going to end up being denied because most people haven't applied for asylum outside of the U.S.
Measures also include humanitarian. Now, these measures also include humanitarian parole for people from 4 different countries if they do make it in and they do try to seek asylum. These countries are Nicaragua, Cuba, Haiti, and Venezuela. We are live at the border in San Diego. Marcela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
So, Marcelo, what did the scene look like last night once Title 42 expired?
You know, there's been a lot of confusion as to what exactly was going to happen and a lot of misinformation. People out here were saying that, you know, they were expecting maybe the border to just open and be able to come in. That didn't happen, and there was no rush of people coming in. As we see, you know, many of these people did spend the night here. They've been spending several nights out here.
Marcela, you and the team down there have been doing some incredible work, and we know that you're there along with a number of other media organizations. But talk more about those volunteers. How many of those folks are there working to help the migrants, giving them food and water? And last night we saw in Ty's story that they were even providing some charging for them as well. How many folks are we talking about?
Yeah, there are multiple organizations. We can see here some of the supplies that they are distributing, some essentials, really water, some food for many of these people who, as we mentioned, have been out here for multiple nights, some of them coming in for weeks also. And farther to the end, there are some charging stations. You know, people have been spending multiple days and nights out here. They need to charge their phones. They're trying to apply for that CBP One app, trying to get an interview with immigration officers, or just trying to be in touch with some of their loved ones. So there is a lot of assistance that is being provided, not a lot of charging stations, but, you know, a lot of people who have been out here, you know, other partners of the media also helping a lot of these people charge their phones. And one organizer who got here a few hours ago also did tell us that they are planning to bring a lot more of these charging boxes to help out a lot of these people. As I mentioned, hundreds of people are out here and hundreds are coming in daily.
Just doing what they can to help, for sure. Marcela, again, thank you so much for joining us early this morning. And you and the crew, again, have been doing some excellent work, and it is well received by our viewers, and we really appreciate it.